Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ryan Smith. Thank you for joining me for this session entitled World Languages as a Vehicle to College and Career Readiness. Before we begin, I would like to send a huge thank you to Global C.R.E.D for inviting me to be a part of this extremely exciting first-time event. So thank you, and thank you for joining me. We are going to discover and explore how exciting college and careers can be as an enhancement to world language curriculum. So again, the title of this is World Languages as a Vehicle to College and Career Readiness. Let me tell you about myself. So instead of going through a long resume, I want to tell you who I am and what I believe. So first and foremost, I am a champion for all students. I believe all students should have opportunities to reach their full potential, and that teachers' main job is to remove barriers for all students. I'm also a believer in world languages for all. Um, Too many a time, world languages has been pretty much marginalized to a certain group of students, groups of students who can earn, you know, high grades in English or math courses. But I don't think that those prerequisites are effective for a world language learner. I think every student should have the opportunity to learn a world language, and we're going to explore that here in a little bit. I'm also an advocate for teachers. Um, I do think that teachers have one of the most challenging jobs imaginable, and I am definitely an advocate for them and want to provide resources and strengthen their instruction and curriculum um, so we can get the biggest bang for the buck for all students. And I am also a challenger of traditional practice and curriculum. You'll see from this presentation that we're going to explore quite a bit of outside the box thinking. So just wanted to give you a little bit of information about myself um, before we begin. All right, so this is the first activity we're going to engage in. And I want you to think about a student who you currently have in a class or you have had in the past that has been challenging for you. And by challenging, I don't mean that the student has caused you discipline problems. Maybe the student has, but challenging, maybe a student that has been um, disconnected or not engaged. So think about a student who you've been able to reach and turn around. Okay, so what I want you to do is write down that student's name on a post-it note or on a piece of paper, and you're going to have it in front of you throughout this entire presentation. Okay, so I'll tell you why in a second, but just right now, take a few seconds to think about that name, and I'm going to do the same on my post-it note. All right, hopefully you were able to think of a good example. So let me share mine with you. Here's my post-it note right here. I wrote down the name Danielle. And Danielle, if you're listening right now, huge shout out to you. But Danielle was a student of mine probably about 10 years ago. And he was the first in his family to take advanced placement courses to graduate high school, actually. He was the first in his family to graduate high school. So Danielle took quite a few levels of Spanish from me. and he went all the way through AP, and very proud of him. He got a 5 on his AP test as a junior. One thing that stands out to me about Daniel is when he first entered my class, he didn't know why he was taking Spanish. He spoke Spanish at home. Um, he wasn't the most engaged student, but I pushed him and pushed him and pushed him. And like I said, he did pass the AP exam. He went on to college. He graduated college with a degree in secondary education, and he's now a middle school teacher. And I like to think that maybe my world language class was a catalyst that pushed Danielle forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my post-it note right here in front of me because I always like to think about students that that have been challenging and that are successful now that just needed an extra push from a teacher. So hopefully you can have your student's name in front of you as well through this. All right, so let's talk about this. So, because we hear this terminology quite a bit, college and careers. We talk about college and career readiness. We talk about how to incorporate this into core content areas. But I firmly believe that a world language is a core skill. So let's talk about why college and careers. When I think about college and careers, I really think about all students being given the opportunity. And so I just said that all students deserve the opportunity to reach their full potential to fulfill their dreams. Education is the vehicle to reach this goal. And so if you embrace this um, philosophy of all means all, you will start removing barriers for your students and exposing them to the world. And the world includes college and careers. Okay, so for this presentation, my essential question is, what does it mean to be college and career ready? So I just want you to think about that question here for 10 seconds. Um, Come up with a definition in your head. What does it mean to be college and career ready? Or what does a college and career ready student look like? Okay, I'm gonna give you 10 seconds to ponder this question. All right, about 10 seconds. So just keep this question in the back of your mind during this presentation and things we're going to explore. So what does it mean to be college and career ready? All right, that brings us to world languages. Hopefully we have quite a few world language educators watching out there. But why learn a new language? We need to be honest with ourselves and we need a solid answer to this question. Why learn a new language? We need an answer that appeals to all students, okay? Not just a group of higher achieving students. We need an answer for all students. Why learn a new language? Just a couple of vocabulary words I came up with is we need to learn world languages for growth, for connections, and for collaboration. World language skills go far beyond the actual language, and the skills are so important when we're talking about collaboration, when we're talking about connections, the 5 C's in our standards. So there's the past and the future of world language education. And I'm going to display some visuals up here, and I just want you to kind of reflect on what kind of teacher you are in world languages. So let's look at these. All right, so a man sitting next to a pool, looking at a sunset. Very nice, right? We could say this is probably a different country. Um, this could be a reason why to teach a world language. And then there's a student studying abroad, right? It's a very it's a great opportunity for many students to study abroad. The student looks like she's in Barcelona, Spain. Um, you know, it appeals to a certain group of students. Then there's this picture, which are looks like employees at an office, maybe, or maybe they could be politicians. But they're looking at the globe and analyzing maybe a global situation, global economy. Okay, so those are three different reasons to study world languages. So let's go back. We have the study abroad. We have a man by the beach. And then we have this globalized economy. Let's take a look at some more. Right, this is a very traditional classroom. You can see students are in rows. It looks like they're in uniforms. They're raising their hands to participate or get their teacher's attention. And then you have a group of students here facing each other, looking like some of them might be working on their own things. The boy in the purple shirt looks like he is helping his classmate problem solve. You can see a group of students in the background working with their teacher to collaborate and solve problems. So very different. We have this traditional classroom where students are raising their hands. Looks like there's pretty strong routines in place. And then we have this this collaborative environment with interpersonal skills. All right, and then this is a traditional French conjugation lesson. I just a heads up, I have done as a student many of these in the past, but I can't remember a lot of the information that I learned by doing this. So check this out. We have very traditional, learn how to conjugate the verbs in a French class. Again, we have a group of students here collaborating, they're problem solving. If this was a world language class, I would like to think that they were problem solving using the target language. Again, very traditional conjugation. A group of students collaborating, doing something with information, probably taking risks. So where are you? Are you these traditional pictures? And I would say traditional reasons of learning languages could be to conjugate verbs, to study abroad, to travel, or are you a teacher that promotes collaboration, risk-taking, and innovation? You know, there's a time and place for all of those. So just think, what skills will get you college and career ready? World language is a skill. I always like to say that it is not an academic content area, but it is a skill, an essential skill that students need in order to be successful in their future. We're going to explore some career relations of world languages, but really think about it as a skill. okay? If we go back to that picture of students collaborating at that table, that's a skill. That's a skill with involving language production. Here's another question for you. What does it really mean to be college and career ready? Okay, again, we hear this term all the time, college and career ready, but what does that really mean for a student, or what does that look like? Well, here's some skills. Critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication, information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy, flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. Wow, that's a huge list of important skills for students, and that's why these skills are normally referred to as 21st century skills. Um, how many? So take a look at these skills. We have 12 in particular, starting with critical thinking, ending with social skills. How many of these skills would we be able to teach in a world language class? So just count how many of these 21st century skills can we teach in a world language class? Take 5 more seconds. All right, you ready for the answer? You know, there's no right or wrong answer. We're just thinking, but I really looked at these 12 skills and I can confidently say that 100% of them can be taught using world languages as the vehicle. And now when we're talking about college and career readiness, this is college and career readiness. Um, Critical thinking, creativity, I mean, initiative, leadership. These are all skills that are essential for students to be successful in college. The beauty of being a world language teacher is you can use your class as the vehicle to teach these. Okay, this is like these are like lesson plans right here. I would connect every single thing you do in class to one of these 21st century skills and be able to justify it. All right, be intentional about it. Okay, let's go back to those questions, right? Why learn a new language? Um, and yeah, it's great to provide students the opportunity to study abroad or to travel in the future. But again, you're only going to appeal to a certain group of students. Um, a lot of students can't see themselves studying abroad in Barcelona or in Paris. So, so then why should they learn a world language? Okay, what is your answer when a student or a parent comes to you and says, why should I or my child be learning a world language? Well, there are carrots, right? There are advantages to world languages, of course, beyond travel, which is very important. I'm a huge fan, love to travel, but it doesn't appeal to all students. And remember, all means all. Okay, so one carrot is a seal of biliteracy upon high school graduation. Huge carrot. This could be a game changer for students. We'll talk about some of the advantages of the seal of biliteracy here in a bit. Bypassing novice level classes in college. College is expensive. College takes a lot of time. And so if students can bypass novice level courses that they took in high school, that's a huge carrot for many students. college credits. Depending on what university you go to, you can either bypass those novice level classes, or you can bypass them and receive college credit for them. Again, when we're looking at breaking down barriers for students, providing free college credits is a huge barrier we're removing for many students. Career skills. We're going to talk about here in a second about the why, but if you look at a world language as a career skill instead of an academic content area, it's a game changer for students. So if a student or a parent asks me, why should I learn a world language? I'm going to say, you are going to have advantages that other people don't. And if you can be biliterate in your own language plus a second language, you're going to have so much advantage when you go out into the world to seek employment. Again, there is that advantage, huge advantage. But I also think that it makes you a better person and improves the quality of your life. You see this image here, says success and happiness. We can't forget about happiness and that intrinsic motivation of learning a world language. Okay, so we've talked a lot about why. Why are we doing this? Why should we incorporate college and career readiness into our classes? So now, how do we do it? Because I can argue that we can do it all the time and consistently in all world language classrooms. So let's see some ideas. Start with the why. Hopefully by now you have learned about me that I always start with the why. If I don't know why we're doing it, and if I don't know why I'm teaching it to students, if I don't know why I'm advocating it to this, advocating world languages to the state, then I'm not going to be very successful. But if I start with the why, I will be successful. I will grow programs. I will keep students engaged in the classes. Okay, so why? Maybe this could be the reason why. To learn about world cultures, to learn about people different from myself, could be a huge why of taking a world language class. Could also be to become maybe the next archaeologist, maybe to discover new civilizations, new ancient civilizations. Huge why for studying world language. Maybe it is to explore the world and to analyze monuments and landmarks and admire their beauty. Maybe it's for a career skill. Maybe it's to go to a culinary program and explore the world through food. Maybe it could be to learn more about your own family and your own family story. I look at these pictures and I see so many reasons here why to learn a world language. But we have to incorporate all of them, not just one or two. Bring the world into the classroom. If anything has taught us something about bringing the world into our classroom, it should probably be this last year in using platforms such as Zoom or YouTube to create this global classroom where we can access information from afar. Okay, so podcasts, Zoom, YouTube, these are all vehicles to instantly bring the world into your classroom. Here's a picture. I know we're all really familiar with this picture here after months and months, but virtual teaching has so many endless opportunities. You can do guest speakers over virtual teaching. Um, this picture looks like a Zoom meeting with students. There is hopefully a guest speaker in there somewhere, maybe Photo King or whoever that is. But bring in career professionals. Um, have students ask them questions about what they do. Relate it to language. So you want to look for guest speakers, obviously, that have benefited or have had an advantage of speaking a second language, and then have your students interview that person. Ask questions about maybe how they learned the second language. How do they use that second language in their business? Is it advantageous to have a second language in that line of business? And then this bottom point on here is so important. Find professionals that look like your students. Okay. We want students to be able to see themselves in colleges or in different types of careers. Make sure the people you invite to speak to your students look like your students. Okay, just think about that. It's really, really powerful for a student to see someone who's successful, who looks like them, or maybe shares similar story. But this doesn't have to be all online. You can do this in person. This is obviously a class where we have zoomed in people to join or participate or present. So, you know, back in the olden days, we had to seek out guest speakers. We had to possibly get them cleared by a school or a school district to be able to go into the classroom. We had to work around two schedules, a school schedule that is not very forgiving, and a work schedule, which sometimes is also not very forgiving. So we have this skill now that we have learned as educators where we can bring professionals into our in-person classes instantly. And so, you know, having been to quite a few schools and helped them secure guest speakers, um, you know, it's really, let's just say I haven't found very many instances when people have not been willing to give up 15 or 20 minutes of their day to speak to students. So in person is always an option of bringing in virtual guest speakers. All right, project-based learning. Again, if we go back to those pictures of the traditional French verb conjugations, and then we looked at the next picture, which was a group of students sitting at a table collaborating, we want to bring in that second picture as much as possible into the classroom, into project-based learning. There's just so many opportunities and examples of project-based learning, whether it's investigating a problem, creating a presentation as a group, or maybe even presenting as an individual for a group. All right, these are all college and career skills, and we have to include them in our classes. We have to give our students those skills to be able to do that and to be successful in college. All right, another way we can leverage college and careers is by looking right outside our doors at our local communities. There could be a bakery right down the street. We could bring those people into our classes. Maybe we can Zoom them in and talk about their businesses and their community and maybe their story on how they opened a business or why they opened a business. This is really powerful when you have families that are not originally from your community, and students can ask them about um, small business ownership and what that's like. And, this is all a connection to world languages. Politics. I know we're probably exhausted right now of hearing about politics, but leverage your local politicians, your city council, your school board, and bring them into your classroom to talk to your students on how world languages will improve their future. This is so powerful, and even if you bring in people that maybe have no background in world languages, I bet you they would say and make the case to your students how important it is to study and engage in world languages. Volunteer opportunities. Seek this out for your students. Seek out opportunities for them to become directly involved with their local community. This is a college and career skill. Giving back to the community, working with others. If you go back to our 21st century skills list, you will notice community service embodies so many of those 21st century skills. So seek out those opportunities and provide them to your students. All right, relationship to other content areas. This is something that all world language teachers are already masters of doing this in class, but let's start being intentional and pointing it out to our students. So if we're teaching lessons in a world language, let's have a connection to English, okay? Not necessarily English language, but English, literature, um, how to use and leverage world languages in careers related to maybe journalism. Okay, that's the content connection to English. Math. Let's let's have students. Let's go back to that project-based learning. Have students research um, famous mathematicians in the past that have been bilingual, trilingual, and let's look at that. Relate it to what they're doing in the math classes right down the hallway. Science, huge. We can have so many connections from world languages to science just by cultural comparisons or how systems work in other cultures or other places. We can make a huge bridge to science. And what this will do is bring us to this very powerful list of career industries. So if we're in our world language classes, if we're making these connections for students to math, to English, to social studies, to science, to physical education, to ROTC, what we're doing is we're planting seeds into our students' minds that world language is a skill. It's a skill that they're going to need that kind of connects everything for them. What this does is brings people to really ponder, how am I going to use this in the future? How am I going to really use these world language skills when I graduate from high school, or when I graduate from some post-secondary institution? Look at these career industries: agriculture and natural resources, business and marketing education, education, hospitality and human services, health science and public safety, information and media technologies, and skilled and technical sciences. I just pulled this off our Nevada Department of Ed career and technical education website. Um, Different states have different CTE areas of focus. This just happens to be ours here in Nevada. But visit your Department of Education CTE site and see what the initiatives are in your own state. These 6 areas are our initiatives, and so I think one way to really leverage college and career readiness in world languages is to focus on these. If you are a teacher of advanced placement, and you know the themes, you can relate those themes to a lot of these career industries. So leverage this. Have students incorporate these industries and these possibilities into project-based learning, into the why, into your local community. Research this. This is a huge plus for students to help them make this connection. All right, college exploration. Um, a lot of times in classes, in high school classes, students are just taking classes for like a checkbox to go on to the next level, or because it is a college requirement. If we set up these skills and the why for students appropriately and correctly, our classes are no longer going to be just check boxes for college entrance. Okay, so when I am talking about college exploration for students, I'm really talking about um, what students can do after high school. All right, not every student is going to go to college. We know that, but every student should have the skills and the opportunity to go to college if they wish. And I believe that. Okay, that's my soapbox right now. Every student should be given the opportunity and the tools to be successful in college if they wish to pursue that road. Every student, all students, all means all. So let's use our world language classes to explore colleges and post-secondary options, whether it's community college. Community college is great for students. There's a lot of programs throughout the United States where students may not even have to pay for attending their local community college. So let's use those career industries, help make the connection to post-secondary education, and strengthen it by knowing a second language. I get chills just saying that because it's so powerful um, for students. I mean, you're giving students everything they need to be successful if you're helping them make these connections. Um, they could be in an industry directly out of high school. How will knowing a second language better prepare them for that industry, help them make that connection? I had to put this picture in because it is University of Nevada right here in Reno. You can see the beautiful Sierra Nevada mountains in the background. Um, University, four-year university. How will knowing a second language prepare them to be successful in a four-year university? Think of what else you could do with college exploration. You can look at um, colleges abroad, even. What are differences between colleges abroad and colleges in the United States? You're hitting so many world language standards if you do this cultural comparison, but you're also talking about college and career readiness, okay? So even though you're using it maybe as a cultural comparison, you're still preparing students to be college and career ready. Seals and credentials. This is something that is newer since I've been an educator to include world languages, and it is about time that that states, governments, industries are recognizing world languages as an essential skill for students. So we have seals and credentials. The IB program, here's one example of the diploma program where students can graduate as an IB student. They could possibly get college credits or bypass those novice courses, but they have that diploma that certifies them as an IB student. Many states across our country have a seal of biliteracy already in place. We are working as states to strengthen these seals and to add more value to them. So when a student does take their test or show proficiency in a second language and earn the seal, that it's recognized nationwide. And this is a game changer for students. Not only is this such an accomplishment, but this has strengthened world language programs, at least in our state it has. And so now when other content areas are sitting at the table, world languages is invited to these discussions also. And it's because of things like the Seal of Biliteracy. And we have now a global Seal of Biliteracy. Um, Global Seal of Biliteracy is exactly what it means, global. So this is like taking our state seals of biliteracy and giving them even more strength, okay? So now you get the global seal of biliteracy. You get basically an industry certification that a student can take to an employer, a university, and have this certification that, yes, I am biliterate in at least one other language. And then ACTFL. ACTFL has quite a few certifications for students of all ages, okay? Not just high school students. They also have certifications for elementary school students. But some of their industry certifications are some of the most recognized in the business. So again, these are all huge for students in giving them that advantage. So let's start to bring this back to the why. When I look at this picture, it warms my heart because these students are engaged in so many 21st century skills. Even if you take the technology piece out, they are engaging in so many 21st century skills. And think of how prepared for college and careers these three students are going to be in the future. I don't know anything else about them than looking at this picture, but I can tell you that these skills that they're learning right here are going to prepare them for college and careers. So I want to end with this. Okay, we started with this statement at the beginning, and I'd like to end with it. So all students deserve the opportunity to reach their full potential to fulfill their dreams. Education is the vehicle to reach that goal. World language is that vehicle to college and career readiness. World language can be the one thing, I don't want to say the one thing, the most important class a student takes in school. Because think of everything that they're learning. If we embed 21st century skills and align our curriculum to promote college and career readiness, along with the actual language, along with teaching empathy and an appreciation for other cultures, along with interpersonal skills and learning how to persuade somebody. We take all of those skills. There's no stronger class than a world language class to promote college and career readiness for all students. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to this presentation today. It has absolutely been a pleasure to be involved with this global C.R.E.D event and this movement. And I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. Teachers, keep fighting the good fight out there. Your work is so important. Everything you do daily is so important. Your students love you for that. And I'm gonna go back to my my post-it note right here with Danielle. And so I just want to tell Danielle that I'm proud of him. He graduated school, college and career ready. And the proof was that he was that first person to graduate from high school and go to college in his family, and is now promoting college and career readiness to the next generation of students. So bring it back home to your student that you changed. I'm always here for you. So if you would like any more information, or if you just want to talk things out, you can contact me. There's my email address. It is rgsmith@washoschools.net. Again, thank you so much for this opportunity and for inviting me to be a part of this great event. And good luck on your college and career readiness journey.